He's like, well, I'm hosting so within his job capacity was to actually host clients for MTN for like a soccer event, like MTN 8, that soccer match between Pirates and Chiefs. Yeah, he was to host clients in the VIP section of FMB Stadium for that particular finale. Yeah, MTN 8. And he was like, I need a +1 because I'm hosting clients and I don't want to be alone just dealing with my clients that day. So do you want to come with? And I was like, yeah, sure. I thought it was so lovely because I would be absolutely happy to go on a date any day at either a concert or a sporting event, something quaint and sweet, and it's giving we can hang over here. And yeah, so I was like, sure, yeah, I'll come with, it's cool. And so I went on a date with this guy, like one date, and he made the arrangements with me one time. And then he was like, I'll send you the itinerary over email. And then of course we continued to chit chat for the remainder of that week pertaining this here date that we're gonna go on. That's Saturday. He basically kept me in the loop and he kept on chatting with me. In this instance, I was broken up with my boyfriend though. We were not together because we were on and off, right? I had broken up with him. So when I went on the date, I wasn't technically cheating because we were broken up. I went on he like kept me in the loop and I got to experience for like 3 whole chunky days from the Wednesday that he called me up until the Saturday that we went on the date. I got to experience 3 whole days of being this guy's girlfriend. Except he didn't call me, nah. I didn't experience girlfriend vibes. Because girlfriend vibes is giving, how you doing, baby, in the morning. It's doing, what are you eating for lunch? It's giving, how's your day? What's your boss doing now? And it's also giving, what are you watching on TV? And it's also giving, good night, baby. So no, he didn't call me all the day long, just merely, was on some, yeah, I guess I'll see you on Saturday. Yeah, tablet anyway, whatever. But nonetheless, I told myself that we're 5-2 going over there, so it's all good in the hood. I like this guy. I liked him like, so very much. Anyway, I go on a date with him. A fine Saturday comes, and this is where it is that I experienced just a most lovely date where for the first time in my life, I got treated the way that I wanted to be treated as a woman by a guy. He insisted on picking me up, though I had my own vehicle. There were these buses that picked up the clients at MTN and then drove them to the stadium. I could have therefore just driven to work, parked my car, met him there, and then either gotten on these buses with him or then us travel to the stadium together. But instead he was like, I'll pick you up, right? And this guy, when he knocked on my door, go, I give him my directions, he walks up. When he knocked on my door, I knew what he was, I sort of kind of low-key knew what he wanted to do. I almost low-key knew that he wanted his bread buttered on both sides and wanted his cake to eat it too. He wanted me, but he wanted me to pretty much accept being his side, like not talk. Like he wanted me to just not talk about you've got a girlfriend and I've got a boyfriend. What are we gonna do about that? He wanted us to have like a weird, like, do you find people that are together, like a couple that is together that out here is like, however, with each of them have got. Do these things happen? Like a married man and a married woman, or a girlfriend boyfriend pay and a girlfriend boyfriend pay, and there's like a boy and a girl over here together having a whole relationship. Do those things happen? I guess they do. There are married couples that have affairs with other married people, like for years. Like you've got a spouse, he's got a spouse, but the two of y'all are out there doing a strange thing. If anything, it happened with, I believe, Philip Yancey, that Christian guy that came out confessing all of his dirty laundry about his adulterous affair. The woman with whom he was having an affair was also married. That is just so much heavier. I also had like a friend colleague at MTN that was married, and this guy that she met from Botswana was also married, and the two of them wanted to like hook up in a like Rondavel hotel joint. It's just between the two of us. Like, Papa, it's giving Jacques and Dej Lope. That's why this guy who puts up Jacques and Dej Lope. Can we get a room? And you don't gotta tell nobody. It's just me and it's just you. And what we're doing here is private. That was the beginning of the end for me. Like, Papa, I'm so glad that God saved me shortly after that season. Like, listen, I am grateful. Men that want their bread buttered on both sides. I did not want a Jacques and Dej Lope relationship where I got somebody, you belong to somebody else, but the two of us can swing. I did not want to swing. I wanted him fully. And I was prepared to abandon this here thing that I was in to be with him. But it appeared this guy, he wanted his bread buttered on both sides. He wanted his cake and eat it too. He wanted to enjoy love with his, like a woman that he had feelings for, but also enjoy the benefits of a woman that gives him clout. I was gonna be his little secret. That's how we should keep it. No one has to know. And I remember just thinking, dude, I ain't never been nobody's side. Like, Papa, relax. Like, the dog. I was on Yenzi's side piece. Like, you're just not gonna do that. Especially considering, how are you gonna be more in love with your side chick or your midi? How are you gonna be more in love with your side chick or your mistress? Like, why didn't you just marry the woman that you were more in love with? Like, this is here, like, it's literally happening in the world. And all these guys that I keep on dreaming about, they're like, but I don't love my wife. That side piece more. I'm like, yo, I know, Shem, it's because you made yourself marry umuntu. Shem, you did that to yourself. On that day, what are we gonna do with your indiscretions? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, no, this guy, when he came to my apartment, out here ringing a doorbell, except I didn't have a doorbell, it was more like Coco. He like walked up at my apartment in Honeydew and to pick me up on that date, that fateful Saturday morning. And I knew what he wanted to do with me, and then now I was not, listen, I wanted this guy, and I was, I had that history that I just told you about, like my ex-boyfriend, the guy who took my virginity, and his best friend. Like, I couldn't be with this guy. Like, it was a guilty pleasure. It was just a guilty pleasure, and I was nice and lost in the world. Do you understand? It couldn't work. But nonetheless, I was just out here nibbling into this, and I wanted it to, I just wanted it for now, as warm and cushy a blanket as it is. I'm taking it for today because I'm cold for today, and I'm taking it. Like, Mara, I am not going to be this guy's a string alongside chick. I was not about to let myself be that thing. I was not. So, it was not just him. We were all just dangerously on Game Boulevard. Alright, so let's actually be nice and fair to the guy and say everybody was playing a nasty little game that they couldn't finish. Neither could he yemela ntwena batla go etsa. Sonke nje mesehesha phaya. Okay, at least we've admitted that. And that's cool. At least we've come to a consensus that was a thing. So when he rocked up at my door, I remember I had cogitated this the night before. I was like, I'm not letting that guy inside my apartment. I'm not letting him in. I'm not letting him come into my house. Listen, there was nothing that we could have done at my apartment before going, because he was on a schedule. He was actually at work, so he could not be late. So therefore, there was no getting a fast one in before going. He came on time, and he was going to work. It was not merely pleasure, that date. It was also business for him. Mara, nonetheless, I don't want a dude rocking up, coming inside my house, and then looking at me some kind of way, and then like expecting, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Like, don't come close. Don't come Tuesday. We're not dating. I wanted this guy. I knew I couldn't be with him. Everybody was out here nice and in denial. We will admit that much. But I was not prepared to humor anything of this guy. Unless he flat out told me, listen, I got a girl, and you got a man, and I know. Let's see where this is going. Because I like you, and I don't know what it is. And then in due season, listen, I was not prepared to be this guy's side. I was going to pressurize him to leave his girl. And if he didn't want to, I was going to be like, then I can't do anything for you. I was not going to let myself sleep with him. I was a fornicator at the time. I was not going to let myself do anything. At this stage, I was broken up with my boyfriend. And the breakup was going to be permanent if this guy was like, I'm leaving that joint. Asambe, let's go into the sunset and soar. Let's just run away. Let's forget about everybody's feelings and just run away. I was listening, my boyfriend never born, my ex never born, and girlfriend that thing, yo, things on dump. I mean, I don't know that in the meantime that I was gonna dump him. I was gonna be like, dude, you're with her. I'm so bye-bye. And he was gonna grovel and beg and realize, Uti, my heart is yours. Because he came to a point where he realized that his heart was mine. By then he was married. He was gonna find out, so I refused to let him come into my apartment. So I remember he knocked on my door. And I opened the door and got out. Okay, Dean. Security. The security would like call on some good no say 18. And I'd be like, okay, and then he would enter. That's how he got in, right? Okay. So I knew that he was en route. He then found my apartment. And instead of me opening the door and some come in, and I gave him a glass of water, I didn't want him coming in my place because I didn't want him looking at me some kind of way. I didn't want him getting all warm and cozy in my atmosphere. I did not want him being alone with me in my house. Like, I didn't want that. Like, I like this guy, but I was not trying to make out with him. I didn't want to kiss him. I didn't want to do anything. for as long as he had a girlfriend, I was not going to facilitate his cheating with me. And I was single because I was broken up with my boyfriend at that date. But I was not going to be the side chick that is out there making out with him while his girlfriend is wondering where he's at. But that date on its own was just a mammoth emotional infidelity, because the dude was out here with the woman that he was falling for, while the one that he was with, that he wasn't even all that in love with, was somewhere else out there in the wilderness. Anyway, yeah, so this here was a thing. So I opened the door, and you could tell on his face that he was kind of offended. Like, how can I even describe how this guy's facial reaction looked like? Like in the movie Temptation, Judas gets in a lift with Harley, and Harley is out there telling her that fornication should be rough and wild, and she's like, ew, and whatever. And then she says something to him that basically kind of snubs all of his flirting with her. And he's like out here holding a cup of coffee in his hand. And he immediately goes from having a facial expression like a schmuck, yeah, on his face, to just like, I'm not getting to this chick. Like, what? Because I'm like trying to highlight that he had that look on his face, like almost of like it was almost as though he was like, you're not letting me in. Why would you want to come in, dog? Like, listen, you got clients to entertain, and those buses over there be leaving. They be leaving everybody behind. And if you're not there on time, dude, everybody be getting left nice and behind. Like scheduling, yeah. And he was just like, okay. Poor man, he was like, I got out. I was like, hey, I hugged him outside of my door. He said, on some, you're not getting in my apartment. And he couldn't insist. He never got to see the inside of my apartment. Though he liked the complex where I stayed. I never let him in. I wouldn't, because you're not mine. I'm not yours. Like, you're not coming in. And while you're a decent guy, I don't think you're gonna pin me down or whatever. I also don't think you're gonna just jump me with a kiss, because you're not that guy. Nonetheless, I'm not gonna let you into the space enough for you to think you can come into it again without it being official that you left her, and I stayed gone from him, and now we're together. It wasn't gonna work. Like, goodness, he was gonna introduce me to his friends, and then I was gonna meet my ex, and it was like, I was just nibbling onto that, which I understood was like a very sweet treat, like eat fudge, but you can't eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was never gonna work. It was literally never gonna work. Anyway, whatever. So here in lies this guy. Yeah, so we get in his car, and we then drive to what you call this thing, to MTN. Initially, we were gonna travel to the stadium in the buses, and it's a good thing we didn't, because the traffic coming back, it was quite a hectic match. Like one of those that fill up a stadium. Then we were gonna get home like the next day, probably like 1 a.m. in the morning type establishment thing. So he made a decision that he wanted to chat and talk and pretty much hang with me without his clients. And so he was like, okay, let's rather drive to the stadium instead of take the buses. So I was comfortable with that, because I was also going to be shy, right? I'm very shy. I'm quite like shy. I met his boss, but I mean, his boss I knew. Like, I greeted him. I was like, hey, what's up? Like I said, he used to work in our area, in our department, not our department, but the floor where we were at. So I recognize him. And now they had moved to like the other side of the world. Good people's nice guy, right? And I remember just thinking at the top of my brain, this guy wants to from like a couple, like I had worked at MTN at that stage for like 3 years. And this guy was working on our floor in our department in the first year that I was working at MTN. He recognized me and greeted and whatnot. And now he was like that side as the boss of this guy. And I remember just wondering, wow, you know me as this chick that you've seen around. I get it, you know me as this chick that you've seen around. You used to greet back in the day, good peoples, you know, I can like, how well, I asked myself, I remember just thinking, how well do you know your colleague over here? How well do you know your subordinate over here? Do you know him well enough to know that he has a girlfriend? That at that stage, their relationship was low-key, long distance, because the chick, I believe, was staying in Cape Ed. Do you know this dude well enough to know that when they made, and that I'm like probably his side chick? The way that he treated me so warmly, and he didn't pass me like judgmental shade. I was wondering, does he know that that I'm like low-key kind of like probably in the capacity of a side chick right now? Does he know? Does he know? And I was so self-conscious about that, because I did not want people looking at me like I was that thing. Do you understand? And I remember just thinking, okay, my boss, like the woman that I work for, does she know that I have a boyfriend? Yeah, she does. Does she know that I've been with him for 3 years? Yeah, she does. We tend to have those conversations with our bosses. Yeah, no, I'm dating this guy for 3 years. Oh yeah, I'm married. Oh yeah, I'm like your colleagues tend to know more or less what your personal life looks like. So I concluded that his boss knew that and that he's out here messing with me. And it kind of ate me alive. Like, listen, I'm not made for the life of a side chick. I'm just not made for it, okay? Anyway, whatever. It ate me alive, and the way that he was so nice and so cordial, it said that men, when it comes to like a whoring, when they are out there in the wilderness a whoring, that they're just so professional in dealing with these side pieces. Guys, they're so professional. They will make you feel like or they will make you feel like we made you, or that they don't know any better. They're not gonna pass you shade or give you attitude or stank you up or treat you like you're a whore. They will actually treat you like we made you, and they're nice to meet you. Like, hello, nice to see you, Garabo. He's probably hitting that. And then after that, go back to MediaCon. I was so self-conscious about that. Because and herein lies me being looked at as somebody that this guy's probably gonna have a nice time with that night. I was like, and you feeling the situation, got my change. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. We get in his car, we go to the stadium, and it was a really nice day. Really nice conversation. We sat in the VIP. He was entertaining clients. His clients thought I was his girlfriend. Because his clients didn't know his personal life, and they treated me like I was his wife. And I enjoyed that, but I knew that I wasn't. Okay. Yeah, like I was his wife or his girlfriend, and spoke to me in that capacity, but I wasn't. He shared his whole life story, his whole heart, and shared his entirety that night. You know, it was a soccer match, but we were in VIP. It wasn't so loud that we couldn't converse. So we had like conversations upon conversations and spoke. And he shared his whole entire life with me, except the one thing he didn't talk about was his girlfriend. He spoke about his ex that died. He spoke about his daughter, and I pretended I didn't pretend that was the first time I found out that he has a kid, because of course I was his friend on Facebook. So I saw the little girl in the Facebook photos. So I was like, oh, I saw the photos in your Facebook. She's cute. And they here in Las Carabo RJ embracing being a stepmom. I would have taken it. For him, he was the only guy that I was willing to accommodate that for. Only one, chef. He told me about his child, his daughter. He told me everything about his life. Like, that is his life. He out here just, like shared it with me. And like, yeah, the Muntulona go all, except, of course, the relationship high, the media high. And it was like the elephant in the room that nobody was trying to touch. And though he would not talk about the elephant in the room with his mate, he thoroughly tried to find out what's going on with the elephant in the room with my boyfriend. Because they're insane. He wanted to ascertain that my boyfriend is not a thing, but not that his girlfriend is a thing. Anyway, whatever. That's what was going on over there with this guy. And I thought that he would just like, however, this guy, he had nuances of rude. Like on the way to the stadium, I'm like car sick. When he was driving, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling car sick. I'm genuinely car sick. He was like, you're almost treating me like, don't vomit in my car. Listen, I ain't got no time for that. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be with a person that has no compassion for my little quirks, my nuances, and the issues I got going down. So if I'm car sick and you're my man, you understand that your woman is car sick every so often. You're not insensitive. But then again, I guess what this guy was trying to do, listen, don't nobody know. But I was not prepared to be Eastside Chikyakon. Let's just put that out there, okay? Though I was in this capacity, kind of acting like a side chick, because he hadn't broken up with his girlfriend, but I had broken up with mine. But I was trying. We broke up for a different hour. I did not break up with my ex because of this guy. We were broken up because of whatever issues we had in the relationship. But I was not trying to be a side chick, okay? Whatever. Cool. He had facets of him that were rude. And one time at the stadium, I told him about my sister. I was like, my sister has traveled pretty much all across the world. She's pretty well traveled, and she studied overseas. And you know what he said? Oh, shallow bugger. He was like, yeah, that's my kind of person. I like a person that is well traveled and well rounded. A person that has been all over these streets about these business. And that has seen the world. And I remember thinking in my spirit, I have never seen the world. My sister's the one that has traveled because of scholarships and academia. I have only ever been in South Africa. And you have just flat out told me that I don't make any kind of sense for you because I've never left the borders of this country. I didn't say it in so many words, but he basically just kind of low-key told me that you're not my kind of person. Based on me being untraveled, it's the thing I'm talking about. Saying that a person is not your type, because you've seen 20 countries and they've only ever lived in theirs. And yet you get along like a house on fire, you talk for hours and you pour out your whole entirety in her. This person is so comfortable to you that even though you've only ever known them briefly, you're sharing your deeper secrets in this world. You're pouring out into her. But she's never left the borders of South Africa, not even so much as to go to Botswana. And you are standing there in comprehensive rejection of her for no other reason but the fact that her passport is not littered with stamps all over these streets from going across the planet the way that you have enjoyed traveling across the world. Listen, on the budget of a girlfriend, hi Hambi, we're going to put that out there. It is not that which makes us compatible, the fact that I haven't traveled. It is that which makes you a man in a position to show me what you have seen. That being as compatible as we are, we could then go out here and eat croissants in France because you've been there and I haven't, and you're showing me the ropes. That's what men do for women. And this guy was looking at an untraveled woman and speaking to me like I'm unsophisticated. And when I told him about my sister's travels, he was like, that's my kind of human being. So were you going to treat my sister better than me if you met her? He was going to have the kind of angst in him. This guy, if he had ended up with me, given how shallow he was going to have the kind of angst in him, that he was going to have an angst in him if I was with him, if I did be with him. That, listen, my ex-girlfriend, with her, I traveled across the world. My ex-girlfriend, with her, we did this, we did that. Now with Karabo, we're on like a tight budget as young professionals. And all we can do is one trip overseas per year. But it would not be of any essence to him that in that trip overseas, there is just like a robust, like voluptuous, most rotund passion, love, and an adoration of company for each other. Also, just how besotted with each other we would be of limited significance. He would have broken me, this guy. He would have treated me like what I have to bring to the table is not much. But what I had to bring to the table was a comfortable hammock in which he could swing, where he could pour out his deeper secrets into me, because I was that much at home for him. I was home. But I was not the chick with the colorful passport. And that was his decision-making criteria until one day, now that the colorful passport doesn't matter, because you're in a marriage with a woman that is not doing it for you. Now, me never having left South Africa is irrelevant. Now, me never mind having never left South Africa, but now I'm unemployed. And don't nobody be out here looking at me. Nobody cares about me. Now you want to talk to me. Now you want to be comfortable with me, because now what matters and what has always mattered, you're finally willing to acknowledge it. Love, comfort, home, ride or die. Here we build a home. And if we have money, we travel. If we don't have money, we stay at home. But this is home. This is rest. This is Masenkatela Manja, or I'm in a wheelchair. This is when I can't go very far because my knees are sore. I'm with her and that's all I need. They ignore that. They ignore stuff like that. And for me, it's like, ignore stuff like that at your leisure, okay? But do not then later on try and make a mistress out of the chick that you didn't like because she didn't travel across the planet. Because she did not paint the globe red. He passed me up, this guy. He passed me up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because apparently according to him, materially, I didn't add up. But if you're going to date a woman, later of yourself, you're not from a wealthy family. Purely because with her, you've got this clout. Then whatever, you deserve each other. But also, this woman, she also is to contribute to why this guy was so awry. Because I can't anymore. Not only that, however, there was also the issue with my own boyfriend, so there was just like a whole bunch of sabotage on the part of our respective significant others. But this here guy deserved everything that he had coming at the hands of his girlfriend, and however, not so much me, because in and of himself, he ended up using such heinous, like cataclysmic witchcraft on me that I could not breathe. I've had dreams, I've told you stories about this guy before. When I had a dream of, okay, so whenever I get dreams of being my aunt or my grandmother's house, it just speaks of regression, places I used to stay, and witchcraft that is rooted in family generation, not generational curses, but family witchcraft. And this guy, of course, never lived anywhere near my family, neither ever visited any of my family members' homes, because we never got to be close like that. We never dated, like we didn't. That was that one date. Anyway, whatever. But I had a dream where he was living at my aunt's house, evidencing the witchcraft rooted in Velevele, my aunt. Okay, he was living at my aunt's house, and I went there to Kilom Chagela. And in that dream, I was young, almost like I was a teenager, and he was young, almost like he was a teenager. And I went to go and visit him at my aunt's house where he stayed, not so much me, and his girlfriend, in waking life, opened the door and told me that hi Yokochai. I saw a shadow of him passing in the passage in my auntie's house. But then this chick was like, I get. And then I got a vision within a dream where I saw him go my aunt, encircled by Amadota, Abadala, if anything. Bagibo, that had put him in like a rada, a seance, like they were chanting and grunting over him. And he was in the center of a circle. And he was just trapped in the space. He was trapped in there. And the chick at the door, his girlfriend, told me that I get Jakti, even though I saw him, first of all, Apeta, and then also I had a vision within a dream where I saw him after Andringa, I got my aunt, Bambega inside the center, Abatala Bagibo, chanting and grunting. It was like the etching of a generational curse, and it was being helped along by this girlfriend. She stood in the way of me and this guy talking, and I went to go and and she told me even though he was there. And also, my aunt, what do you call this? This was as a result of witchcraft coming from my own family, his own family, and his own ancestral or generational curses, right next to girlfriend standing in the way of him being with the woman that, frankly, he was looking at like that. So, like all this witchcraft be out blocking things, okay? All this witchcraft be out making sure that people don't meet each other, see each other, hang with each other. But if in and of I went to go and see him. So I was set free because I'm in Christ. I'm out here knocking on the door of a man that I have feelings for. And then he is the one that is blocked from seeing me because he was not free. I was free enough to open my eyes. I only got this dream once. I got born again. I was free. And I tried to knock on his door and he wouldn't answer. But because he was trapped in not only his own spells, but the witchcraft of his own family, the witchcraft of this chick and my own family. As I'm going to escape. So he could not answer the door and so leave with me. And I also had another dream at my auntie's house where this guy's witchcraft was now being affected. I even told him the dream, and that's where he didn't even respond to the email. I tried to be good people with him once I got born again because and in this dream, I walked, okay, let me just first carry on telling the story before I tell you this dream. At the stadium, we had a house on fire, happiness. His team lost. And I thought that he got sad at the end of the day because his team lost. He did not favor Chiefs. I came to learn on favor Pirates because I didn't give a on social media. So I thought that this guy was all sad and upset because his team lost. But no, that was not it. He was not that kind of guy. He wasn't the kind to be just namby-pamby because his team lost. Especially considering he was entertaining clients. He was sad that the date was ending. This guy got trapped, man. He was held hostage. He was trapped, and he was fascinated, perhaps in love with a chick that he was of the imagination we can't be together. He had already made that decision in himself, and I thoroughly cannot tell you what made him make that decision, but he suddenly got sad towards the end of the night. Like, we were cool throughout the day. We were cool throughout the drive as we were getting out of the stadium in that chock-a-block traffic. But as soon as we got on the highway, where the traffic had cleared, he was suddenly somber. And I couldn't understand why his tone changed. Like, it's like he was sad that this was the last time that he was seeing me. Or that he can't carry on with this. That he enjoyed himself, but it's over. It's like a child, that is so excited at the beginning of the day because mommy is taking him to Gold Reef City. And then at the end of that day, when now it's time to go home, or children coming back from camp after a week of fun away from Josie Maboning. And en route to the camp. They're excited, they're talking, they're chatting, they're singing in the bus. But when they come back, everybody's quiet, everybody's looking out the window, nobody's talking to each other. He was like that. He was like a person that had just enjoyed a fun camp at Bush Pigs, and now you gotta go home to your boring kasi and just be a child in your mother's house again and not be at camp. He was like that, and there was nothing I could do to snap him out of that. He imagined me as Bush Pigs. He thought I was like Golden Gate. He thought I was like Gold Reef City. And when he picked me up in the morning, it was the fun day we're going to have at the rides and we're going to eat candy floss. But he don't want to go home. If you feel that way about a woman, listen, then don't go home. Then don't go. If you feel that way about a woman, then don't go home. Because she is home. However, you're going to feel like she is the Tripiako Bush Pigs, then make her Josie Mabone. It's that basic. And this is the thing that I'm out here talking about with Amadota. They be passing women up and then feeling all sad that they can't be with them when they're still single. And then when they get married, they try to make them side chicks. You passed me up because you thoroughly thought I was Bush Pigs as opposed to Ejafti Ngindi. That's why you couldn't have fun with me all the day long. So you passed me up. And at that stage, I was already interrogating the things of God. And at the stadium, he had spoken blasphemies against God because we spoke about a myriad of topics. This guy was just not right for me, evidently, but I was still kind of tepid and lukewarmish because I was newly interrogating the things of God. I was attending church. I feel like I was even saved, right? But I liked him so much that I was trying to ignore what I guess perhaps godly conviction was trying to give me. I even prayed that God would give me this guy as a husband. Of course, God ignored me because he was just ungodly. And he never would have made any kind of sense for me, as I would later come to learn. He did not want freedom, though I was free. And I was out here trying to hang out with a man incarcerated, though I was free. So when we came back home, when he was driving me back to my apartment, oh my goodness, he was so sad on the highway. I couldn't understand what was going on. Like, it's not like he was quiet all the way back, like not talking, but he was evidently crushed. He was evidently sad. And I was like, why are you sad? Like, I didn't say it, but he was sad. And I said, right, D. And next time, anyway, whatever. He finally, parks the vehicle, go Jagateng. He parks the car, go Jagateng. And I'm like, okay, thanks, And I give him, listen, I expected this guy to get out of the car because he was always just such a gentleman. I expected him to get out of the car, give me a hug, and then I go into my apartment. He just stayed in his car on some okay bye. Like, he just sat there. So I hugged him. I went over to him to hug him. I knew in myself that I was not going to kiss him. If he tried to lean in for a kiss, I was going to tell him, you've got a girlfriend. I was going to hit him with that. But he didn't try. So I guess I'm glad he didn't try, because then we would have entered into an awkward conversation or whatever. But he was just really sad. He was just like, listen, glum. I don't know what was going on over there. He was glum, so I get out of the car like, goodbye, dude. But then when I get inside the house, I realized that in my apartment, he asked me to hold his wallet in my bag. And I realized that he had left his wallet with me. He was just so sad, like he couldn't focus. He had left his wallet with me, so I called him as he was driving. Like, I think it was like maybe like 15 minutes before I realized that wallet was in my bag. So and I was like, hey, your wallet is in my bag. Come and your wallet is in my bag. Like, you left it with me. So I don't know if you want to drive back here or what's gonna get. And he was like, yo, I'm already pretty much almost like in Pretoria, because he used to stay in Pretoria, right? At that stage, he finally moved into my neighborhood, in this side in my hood. He was like, I'm listening, almost like pretty much in Pretoria. I'm on the N1 and I'm exhausted. So I'll call you tomorrow and I'll arrange to meet you somewhere at Bukit pick up. And I remember feeling so excited because I was like, I'm going to get to see him again. I like this guy so much. I was like, I'm going to see him tomorrow. Yay. I'm going to see him tomorrow. So I was like, okay, fine, it's cool. And I was that decent chick. I did not go through his wallet. We don't do that. Okay. I left it over there. And then the next day I was meeting with my friend, this friend of mine that was out here baking in my apartment. She was a baker. And whenever I bake a cake using my oven, because her oven was messed up or whatever. So I meet this friend of mine that wanted to bake in my apartment, but I had to meet her go Clearwater. However, it was church the next day, and I was busy attending church. Though this guy was blasphemous, I was convicted of the things of God, but there was blasphemy in him. But nonetheless, I guess that's the danger of Ujolanje when you're still a new Christian. Anyway, whatever. So, did I ever listen, I don't even think I ever got back with my ex-boyfriend. I thoroughly don't think I ever got back with my ex. It didn't happen. We were broken up. Like, listen, it was a thing. My ex and I were actually broken up. We actually were. Like, we never got back together. Okay? And when I left my apartment to go to Clearwater, that's when this guy called me. First I went to church in the morning, and then one phone, and he was like, okay, I'm ready to meet. Where can I meet you? I was like, well, right now I'm at the mall at Clearwater, so you can come. He didn't know my neighborhood, so I told him, this is the direction, and meet me at like the JB's corner, right? That's where that's at, shop establishment thing. And he was still kind of glum on the phone. He was still glum, and I didn't understand why he was so glum on the phone. No, just the night before, towards the end, and also on the phone. I tell him, meet me at the mall, because that's where I'm at, right? And I didn't tell him I'm with my friend, because my friend was meeting with me and she wanted to use my oven to bake. This guy, however, rocks out at the mall, finds it, parks at like some strange part, doesn't know the mall, so wanders about until he finds the JB's corner. And then it's like, I'm here, I'm waiting by the water feature here by the JB's corner. And I came out from the mall because I was inside the mall and my friend was at Cam Books. I don't like Buka or something at the Christian bookstore. I leave my friend at Kumbooks and I get out of the mall and I see him over there by the water feature. And I mean, this guy was just such a glorious water feature in himself. He was just this like Adonis. He just looked so good. He just looked so good. I was like, my goodness, this guy. Oh my goodness, like this man. Like, why is he not mine? We don't know. Nobody knows. Everybody is confused. Okay. And I just see him there. And when I see him, he then like walks towards me, you know, because he recognizes me. I then, you know, give him his wallet. We hugged. We had like a hugging relationship. But again, like I just could not bring back that guy that I was on the date with, that I all the time have been chatting with, the good peoples, the one I met on training. I couldn't bring him out. Like, what is happening? Why was sad, dog? What's going on? Anyway, so I'm out here walking with him. He then says to me, my vehicle, don't you want to walk me to my car? I parked like quite far away from this place because I did not know that there was a pay point for parking. So I'm parking at that side. He was zooming. And so I walked with him. Though I thought like he just wanted his wallet and left because he was just giving, I can't say bad vibes, but he was just giving sad vibes. So I felt like he just wanted to take his wallet and go. But then he was like, walk with me. To the, what do you call this stuff? Walk with me to the parking lot. To the pay station. I walk with him. And as I'm walking with him on this particular day, I was wearing a kitten heel. He was still taller than me. Again, decisions that you're making just based on, listen, don't nobody know. It's like he was trying to diminish me. Okay. He's like, why are you so tall, Namhlanje? Why are you gaga? And I was like, my shoes. Like, I'm wearing a kitten heel. He's like, hey, no pume sontweni. He dissed me. He was like, hey, no pume sontweni. I was like, yes, I went to church. He was like, oh. He was evidently and visibly annoyed with the fact that I was in church. This guy was picking bones with Jesus. So, like, he was just problematic altogether. Like, of course, God didn't want him because he was at such odds, at such enmity with God, which is what this guy is. The one owner, our content creator. Now, he's at enmity with God. He's the type to be like, you know, and be annoyed that and be sad at the end of a date. Because he can't be with a woman that he wants to be with because he's insisting on marrying a woman he doesn't even love. Anyway, whatever. So this guy was just said, like, why are you letting yourself marry women for clout? Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you not running in case you are there? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But I just not could have been with this guy. Like I said, that whole technical issue from the past, it would have rendered this here a null and void establishment. Anyway, whatever. Herein lies this here gentleman, dissing me for coming from Isonto, because I was from the Sonto. But despite coming from the Sonto, then talking mini dress, like I was immodest. Like I said, I was a new Christian and I was yet to be convicted of too very many truths. Okay, so I was rocking like this mini dress, me out there like a bear. And I was rocking this like kitten heel. Though I was wearing a mini dress, I didn't get my pusha though. So it's not like I was entirely I was immodest. I was like proper. It was a mini dress. Alright, I was rocking this mini dress and I looked cute. I thought I looked cute, but this guy could not even see that I looked cute that day. Unlike the day before where he was like, you're looking good. On this particular day, he could not pretty much highlight that I am looking spectacular. Oh, dude. Anyway, whatever. He was gonna be that guy. Like, whenever he spoke well to me, it just landed so beautifully on my spirit. You're beautiful. I just loved it when he called me beautiful. It's true. That's my primary love language, words of affirmation. So he got that right, but he also, every so often, was just kind of rude. We don't know what's going on. Okay, herein lies Mr. Oak. Herein lies Mr. Dude. I'm walking with him to the pay station for the faraway spot where he had parked his vehicle. And as we're walking there, he's looking around on some, where can we sit? Maybe like to have a drink. I'm like, Ezzy, herein lies this guy dissing me for coming from Isondo. And then he's like, to have like a drink. I was like, okay, why is this guy wanting to stay? We were not planning on meeting on this particular day. We only had to meet because I had to give him his wallet. But now he wanted to sit. Drinks at the JB's corner. Of course, I don't drink alcohol. I believe he did. So I was going to have like a strawberry daiquiri and he was going to have maybe a beer. I don't know. Like he was not right for me. He wasn't, but man, I was besotted. Anyway, what if, I don't know, like would I have influenced that guy for Jesus, his ex-girlfriend, no, the one that passed away, I was not going to win him. I was just going to love Jesus and he was not. And like I said, I was never going to be his side chick because I was already convicted of the things of God. This guy was booted out of the way. He was not enabled to keep on playing games with me because of Jesus. But like, that's why I get it. If at all, if nekisapoloswa, man, because I was feeling him. He was gonna play me like a figurine. He had me wrapped around his finger. Did you have to let it linger? Did you have to? Did you have to? Did you have to let it linger? You know I'm such a fool for you. I know this Okie. I was not going to be a side chick that lingers for years. Even as a worldly woman, I was not gonna let that get. He was gonna frustrate me back to my ex-boyfriend. I was gonna fall for him, but then I was gonna be like, I can't be what you want me to be for you. I was never gonna allow him to make a woman that came out of a relationship where she was maybe a side chick. I was just not gonna be that thing. So it wasn't gonna work. I was gonna be at odds with what he was trying to do. And ultimately, and this time around, because we would have essentially talked about big, deeper matters and maybe made out, more so was he going to be possessive over me. I can figure this guy not good job. And as he didn't touch me. At most, he hugged me. He didn't stroke my cheek. He didn't look deeply into my eyes, nothing. He was just very unhappy about looking but not being able to touch. Though I was the one that outbreeded him, he nonetheless was with a deep cognitive dissonance in his brains, in his members, in his core, enough to be nicely and hotly confused where I'm concerned. So I don't know what would have happened if I was worldly. I don't know, but I don't believe I would have allowed myself to be a side chick. And besides, I've never been a side chick. Yeah, I've never been the thing that a guy out here be messing with while I've never. Never can allow with this guy. Yo, I was never. I was never. Because I'm not gonna be with you on a girlfriend. For a woman that he is just passing the heck up. That's all that this was gonna be. If this guy passed me up, why'd you pass me up, dog? And not unless you found out that I'm that girl that dated your best friend and ended up with his friend. And I don't think he knew. Because if he knew, God would have showed me. That's what I say. So he was not inspired by that dilemma. Though I was. I don't know what made this man pass me up, but it's the thing that makes black men keep on passing up women. Like they keep on moving past heart, women that are their heart. And then they go and they chat that women that they're not feeling that much, but they got clout over there. While the woman that is your heart will mourn on the day you get married. You will mourn for the rest of your marriage that you didn't marry her. I have cried over a guy that I was besotted with and married another woman. I got over it, but today he's still all up in my grill like white on rice. I know what it's like to be left alone in all of my singlehood while a guy goes and marries another woman. And then he spends his life regretting it while I move on. So that's the epidemic of what's happening inside men these days. And we don't care and we don't know how we're going to deal with that, but we are maintained in apathy. Yes, we are. Anyway, herein lies this guy at the Clearwood Watermoon, and he's like, let's get drinks. And I'm just like, Yazzie, dude, if you had told me when you called me, because I like you so much, when you had called me and said, okay, I'm coming to pick up my wallet, but since I'm coming to pick up my wallet, we might as well just go for drinks. Let's just hang out. And then after like 2 hours, we'll like part ways again. All right. And at the stadium where we hung out at the match, he made a joke. He's very funny, right? He was extremely funny. Like, I love me funny guys. Like, my man, this guy was just a comedian for days, right? And he made a joke and I giggled at it. And one of the things, after I giggled at some joke that he made, he was like, yo, hey, I don't want to do something like that. Next thing, you're not going to want to come with me again. You're not going to want to meet me again. So when he said that, I was like, oh, you want to meet me again? You're going to call me again? We're going to hang out again? I want to hang out again. I'm cool with hanging out again. So he hinted that he wanted to hang out again. And then at the Clearwater Mall, he could have called me in the morning and said, I'm coming to pick up my wallet. Maybe afterwards we should just grab drinks, seeing as we're already hanging. This guy could have been like, we might as well stick out for like an hour or two. He could have called me. He could have let me know when he called me in the morning to let me know that he wants to pick up his wallet in an hour's time. It's ready. He could have just said, I'm coming that side. It's time now. And I've got like 2 hours to spare. So like, where can we meet to like out here? Have some like pineapple drinks. You can have a pineapple drink and I'll have a beer. It was early on Sunday. Why you be out here having a beer? Juice. I don't think he was gonna have a beer. But anyway, whatever. He wanted to have drinks, okay? And I was content with all those drinks. I would have been content with them if he had told me. But remember, I'm out here with my friend. I'm out here with my girl. Do you understand? I'm expecting that I'm gonna give this guy his wallet back because he's got not an attitude. My whole sad. And so he's obviously not trying to hang with me. So I was just gonna give him his wallet and then like retreat. That's why I was with my friend at the mall. Otherwise, my friend was happy. She was happy-go-lucky. She was like good people. I remember even telling my friend, oh my goodness, a guy that I have a massive crush on, he wanted to have drinks. And my friend was like, go, just give me the keys to your apartment. I'll go and bake. Go. So my friend would have been happy to be like, go. Or I would have left my friend at my apartment to bake. I would have left my friend at my apartment to bake and then hung out with the guy. Do you understand? If only he had just let me know. But he didn't let me know. He was in so much cognitive dissonance. He was so torn. Hey, fine. So this is my height. He's like, Leon. He's like, why would I prefer, he was like, I prefer my women short. How you gonna say that to me though, dude? Like, here it is that I'm walking back with him to go and pay for parking. And before we go pay for parking, he's like, why would though I was shorter than him. And he looks down, he's like, oh, you're wearing those heels. I'm like, yeah, rolls his eyes. And then he's like, I prefer my women short. He prefers his women short. I'm a tall woman and I'm shorter than him in heels and out of heels. On flats and in heels, I'm still shorter than him. He was that tall. Dude, I can never tower over you, even Kadikwekwa. How short do you want your women exactly? Okay, evidently really very short. It's like this guy was emasculated by already being with a powerful woman, a strong woman, a wealthy chick, and now he's taking it out on me. I was thoroughly this man's punching bag. I was the weaker lady that out here obviously liked him, and he was just throwing blows at me. He was rude at me the one time when I walked with him to the auditorium. He was rude in the car out here dissing me for being car sick, and now he is rude to me, telling me that he prefers his women short. You prefer your women short. You know I'm tall. You met me on the day of training. I was tall that day. I've been tall all this time, though I am still shorter than you. You like me enough to be hollering at me. I was with you at the stadium all the day long yesterday, and I was still tall back then. Today I'm just wearing a kitten heel, and that's why I'm slightly taller. And you're gonna sit there and speak to a woman that you have feelings for, and in order to diminish her and make yourself feel better about letting her go, you then tell me you prefer your women short. You're telling me that to make yourself feel better, and you're diminishing me and breaking my heart and hurting me by mocking my height, which I have no problems with. I have no issues with my height. You're telling me that my height essentially is not the kind of height that you like in a woman. Almost telling me, you like me, I like you, but you're too tall. What the heck, dude? Like, that's all you gotta say, for real? Like, you're gonna tease me and say that you're not in my league after you take me out on a date. I didn't invite you. I didn't ask you to call me, and I didn't ask you to dote over me in front of your clientele and then talk about me in front of you like I'm your wife. I didn't ask you to be khadise kam msadi o mo ratang mara o sa batleng o mo tshenta o sa batleng o ploma le ena o tsebang gore she's got principles and morals enough to reject you trying to make her a side chick. Don't make yourself feel better about passing me up by dissing me. Do not do that. Like, what the heck, dog? You broke my heart. Anyway, when he said that, I was like, okay, this guy just keeps hitting me with blows. He's diminishing me with blows. That he might justify maintaining a relationship with a woman he's not even feeling all that much. Okay, listen, it's alright. When he said that, I was like, oh. And then at which point he then was like, where can we go for drinks? What the heck is happening in this guy's mind? You diss me and then you ask me for drinks. Do you think this guy, like, was he just gonna keep yo-yoing me like that? At some point. Like, I was not gonna be able to take all that vitriol. I once left a guy because he gazed into my eyes longingly at night and then said, hey baby, I never saw him again. So if this guy just continued on a trajectory of just mocking me, I was gonna get to a point where I'm like, listen, I know who I am. I know I'm special. I don't need drugs. I'm addicted to life. Like that ad getting drugs from back in the day. You're a drug.